The Madman! Welcome to the remaining cards in the set. These are all the cards that were not revealed on the stream and were finally released in a big bulk on Facebook. Most of these are kind of the leftovers, but there's a few gems here and there. Starting with Snap Freeze. Strictly better Shatter for Mage, 2 mana, freeze a minion. If it's already frozen, destroy it. So unlike Shatter, it's not completely dead when you draw it. Really good card if there is more freeze support. That's about all I can say about it. Currently there is not enough freeze support to make Snap Freeze good. Witchwood Imp for Warlock, 1 mana, 1/1 stealth. Death Rattle, give a random friendly minion +2 health. And it's similar to Blood Imp. Witchwood Imp can actually get in there and fight, and gives an immediate +2 health, well, the turn that it attacks, so that could be useful in giving one of your key minions +2 health, such as Despicable Dreadlord. Zoo does need a lot of 1-drops, and this is going to be a serious consideration. Imagine putting this on something like Knife Juggler or Direwolf Alpha, making it that much harder to remove. And the 1 damage gives it a edge up on the Blood Imp. It's got stealth, so it gets to choose where to attack as well. Get that extra 1 damage when you need it. Dark Possession! It's another one of those 1 mana discover a card type cards. Currently, only 2 real demons are run. There's Voidlord and there's Doomguard. But that said, those aren't the only good demons, it's just that you have to run only those cards in your deck because those are the only demons you want to pull with Lackey. Since you'll sometimes have the Skull of the Minari equipped, you can discover big demons, like Illidan, and get the value the turn that it's put into play. You can kill off your own possessed lackey with the Dark Possession. You can save your Dark Pact for something else. And you can hit yourself with the damage, which might enable some of your self-damage cards. Another option is you play your Voodoo Doll. You play Dark Possession on your Voodoo Doll. It's very flavorful. But again, I'm not even entirely sure you can put in Voodoo Doll into your Q-Block deck. Curse of Weakness. This is a really interesting effect. 2 mana, Echo, give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn. So very different effect from most of these -2 attack cards. There's a card called Fog in Magic the Gathering which prevented all combat damage for a round, and this is a lot like that. Fog only cost 1 mana somehow, and Warlock really likes Frost Nova type effects because they have huge AoE. Hellfire, Defile, and Lord Godfrey. Yet again, Cube Warlock has the tough problem of just what are they going to cut for this card? Man, so many good cards. What do you put in? Ratcatcher, 3 mana 2/2 rush, Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion and gain its attack and health. I have to admit I'm not entirely sure about what a Ratcatcher has to do with this effect, but it seems like the point of this card is probably to destroy one of your friendly minions, which has Death Rattle, and add it to the Ratcatcher's stats, and then just immediately rush something down with it. Another way to activate your lackeys, and a really effective way of activating your cube, since the cube actually has some pretty decent stats. You're getting a 6/8 rusher for 3 mana. I think of all of the Warlock options to fit into your already great cube block deck, Ratcatcher seems like one of the ones that is just so good in combination with cube that it's certainly going to be tried out at least. Now here's the really sick thing, by the way. You know how Countess Ashmore gets you lifesteal, and that was a clear cut for getting you the Lesser Amethyst Spellstone? And how it got you Death Rattle, and that's really good for Possessed Lackey or Voidlord, and how it would be like a little bit of a struggle to possibly find a rush card in, maybe you put in Swift Messenger. Rush! The one big downside is you can't run Prince Talarim with Ratcatcher, but maybe the card is good enough that you replace Prince Talarim with Ratcatcher. Feeder Circle, 4 mana, 7/4/1/1 imps. It's kind of like Forbidden Ritual, except you can only cast it on 4. But at least you get imps, which are probably demons. The bad news is that means Blood Reaver Gul'dan has the chance of getting your imps, which is really bad. So the point of this card is to put 4 1/1s into play with the demon tag. Currently there's no good synergy with this card, so we're not going to see any play with this whatsoever, but someday when there's demon synergy again, maybe. Swamp Dragon Egg, 1 mana 0/3. That's a big egg. Death Rattle, add a random dragon to your hand. A random dragon is probably worse than a card from your deck. And Runic Egg, 1 mana 0/2, didn't see play. This egg does have 1 more health, so it's around and bigger for you to buff, but I'm not seeing it. I don't think the time is right. To 1 mana pack filler, 1 mana 2/1, Swamp Leech, Lifesteal. It's a beast though, and actually a welcome addition to a card that you can stitch together with Deathstalker Rexar. Otherwise though, no. Lost Spirit is a 2 mana 1/1. Death Rattle will give your minions +1 attack. No wonder it's lost, probably because no one ever bothered to put it in their deck. Sandbinder, 4 mana 2/4, Battlecry, draw an elemental from your deck. My initial instinct on this is that Gnomish Inventor is very comparable to it. You draw a card, or you draw an elemental. If you just played in an elemental deck, then why play Sandbinder over Gnomish Inventor? Well, elementals could be thought of as the better half of your deck. That's why you play elementals in your deck. But maybe where Sandbinder really shines is for the tutor effect. Tutor, term from Magic the Gathering, where you're searching for a specific card in your deck. Maybe you're trying to find the Lyra along with the Radiant Elemental. Or maybe you're trying to find the Leyline Manipulator. A pretty interesting effect. You can see it pop up in some decks with a very specific plan that they need their elemental for. Life Drinker, 4 mana 3/3. Battle Cry, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, restore 3 health to your hero. This is an interesting effect that could actually be the finisher with the Shudder Walk and with Grumble, and use the Life Drinker to continuously get the 1 mana, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero, restore 3 health to your hero combination. Might be decent for an aggro deck also. Deals damage past the taunts, and sometimes aggro decks actually fight a health game as well, and then they have a close race, so the 3 damage to the enemy hero and the 3 health to you might actually matter. This card is really efficient if you want the damage to land on the enemy hero. Night Prowler, 4 mana 3/3, Battlecry if this is the only minion in the battlefield, gain +3/+3. In the best case, 4 mana 6/6, which is amazing. In the worst case, 4 mana 3/3, which is terrible. But you have to negotiate a specific board setup where you play this on the board. It's difficult to pull off, but is the payoff worth it? You make all the trades, and then the board is empty, you play the Night Prowler, or a great follow-up to Doomsayer. There's a decent chance that there will be some pretty sticky minions on the board these days. What, with Void Lords being out there? Also with Dude Paladins getting so many guys out with Call to Arms. It's just tough to negotiate for your opponent to have 0 minions out, and for you to have 0 minions. Mad Hatter, 4 mana 3/2, Battlecry, randomly toss 3 hats to other minions. Each hat gives +1/+1. This is pretty much a pure flavor thing on why they decide to toss hats instead of just toss +1/+1 buffs. The hats could end up on the opponent's side. If you only have 1 other minion, all the hats could appear on your 1 guy. So why is it better or worse than Defender of Argus? Well, Argus, very consistent effect. You know what to count on. Mad Hatter, possibly better because the 3/2 stat line is better than a 2/3 on turn 4. Well, I mean, you get +3/+3 instead of +2/+2. Unfortunately, unlike Argus, you can't buff your minions and then trade. You have to trade and then buff your minions, which could prove to be tricky. But it's really efficient if you get the full benefit of all the hats. Then it's just like a 4 mana 6/5 worth of value. Fungalmancer is a 5 mana 6/6 worth of value. And the prerequisite for that is you have to have 2 minions out. So is a Mad Hatter really that much harder of a prerequisite? Which is just that your opponent has no minions out and you have at least 1 minion out? Felso Inquisitor, 4 mana 1/6, Demon, has Lifesteal, has Taunt. It's like Mogushin Warden, except it has Lifesteal. Well, cards with Lifesteal are pretty good when buffed, and cards with high health are pretty good when buffed, and that's about all I can say for the Inquisitor. Maybe Lady in White, but if a card is bad, if you don't have Lady in White, it's not good enough to run in your deck, probably. Chief Inspector, 5 mana 4/6, Battlecry, destroy all enemy secrets. Welcome replacement to Eater of Secrets. Better than Eater of Secrets against non-secret decks, which is welcome because you'll have less downside for putting this card into your deck, so you can hedge more. So I figure that this card will, over the next 2 years, it should probably at one point or another see competitive play and successfully destroy secrets when secrets are there. And that someday may be pretty much the very expansion that it comes out in. Aims at the Secret Paladin, aims at the Secret Hunter, and hey, Secret Mage was a thing for a while, right? Furious Etten, 7 mana 5/9 Taunt. Is it pack filler though? because this is Ancient of War, which doesn't get wrecked when it gets silenced. I'm not confident in saying this card would see play at all in any class, even if it were 5/10. And I suppose that kind of reasoning is useful to think about. How cards have gotten stronger. Deranged Doctor. 8 mana, 8/8. Death Rattle. Restore 8 health to your hero. How sad that it's Death Rattle. So it's kind of like Anti-Killbot, but it's 3 turns slower than Anti-Killbot, but only 3 turns. It's Death Rattle, and it's actually kind of hard to kill off your own 8/8. It's our new mistress of mixtures, and boy has she gotten a makeover. You not only have to have a meta where you're like safe enough on turn 8 to play a slow 8/8, but you also have to be in a meta where healing actually eventually matters, because if it doesn't matter, then you could just play, then an 8 mana 8/8 wouldn't see play. So it wouldn't see play. And finally, last and least, Cauldron Elemental. 8 mana 7/7, your other elementals have +2 attack? Why? No! No! How is this way worse than a bad classic card, Stormwind Champion? Yeah, that's got me pretty befuddled also. This card is so far off of the power curve on the low side that I am speechless. Alright, those are all the cards in the Witchwood. It's time to get to theory crafting actual decks and seeing how this will all form together when I brew the decks in my cauldron. Sorry, Cauldron Elemental, you're not invited.